You are at a family dinner. Your mom needs help. And within 10 minutes of sitting down, you can predict exactly how it's going to go. Your sister's going to say something passive aggressive. Your brother will be on his phone, not say a word. Your mother will tell you, don't make a fuss. Your aunt will tell you you're doing way too much anyway. And you will end up driving home angry and wondering why every conversation about your parent turns into the same argument. There is a reason. And it's not because your family is uniquely broken. It's because every caregiving family runs the same script. There are 5 roles, 5 characters, and every single person around that table is playing one of them. Today, I'm going to name them. And by the end of this episode, you are going to know exactly who you have been cast as, and exactly why your sister is who she is, and exactly what you can do about it. Welcome back to the Aging Parent Playbook. I'm Dr. Barbara Sparacino, triple board certified psychiatrist and the Aging Parent Coach. Last week, we talked about that phrase that's making you sick. I'm parenting my parent. And we replaced it with I'm advocating for my parent. That was the reframe. That was the framework that ends the guilt for the daughter or son who has been carrying it all. If you missed it, go back. That episode is the foundation for this one. Because today we are going one layer deeper. Today we are going to look at the architecture of your family, the roles, the patterns, the cast of characters that show up when a parent starts to need care. And here is what I want you to hear before we start. None of this is about blame. None of this is about pathology. Your family isn't broken. Your siblings aren't narcissists. Your aunt is not a monster. They are playing roles. You are playing a role. And once you can see the roles, you can stop fighting the people and start changing the system. So let's get into it. So why do families have roles? The first thing I want you to understand is that family roles are not a moral failing. They are not evidence that something is wrong with you or your family. They are the natural result of how human systems organize themselves. Every family is a system, and every system, when stress hits it, does the same thing. It assigns roles. It gives people jobs, not because someone sat down and decided who was going to be what, but because the system needs to function. And the people in it instinctively settle into positions that keep the whole thing moving, right? So some of these roles get assigned early. Maybe you were the responsible one at 8 years old because your mother was overwhelmed and someone had to help. Maybe your sister became the dependent one because she was the youngest and got coddled. Maybe your brother became the disappearing one because the household chaos made him want to escape. But by the time everyone is an adult, the roles are usually pretty stable. And then a parent starts to age, and the system has to figure out a new equilibrium. Who's going to handle this? Who is going to make decisions? Who is going to do the emotional labor? Who is going to pay? Who is going to show up? And here is what almost always happens. Those old roles from childhood, they reactivate. The 8-year-old you who is the responsible one becomes the 45-year-old you who is the responsible one. Your sister who was the baby is still the baby. Your brother who was checked out is likely still checked out. And the system is doing what the system does. It's reaching for the familiar pattern. And look, this is not always a bad thing. Sometimes the roles fit. Sometimes the family has matured and the roles have shifted and everyone shows up in healthier ways. But more often than not, especially under the stress of a parent's decline, the system snaps back to the original assignments. And that is when families start to feel impossible. And I want to say one more thing before we walk through. None of these roles are inherently good or bad. The responsible one is not the hero. The disappearing sibling is not the villain. They are both responses to the same family system. They are both adaptations. So as I name these, I want you to listen for who you are and who your family members are without judgment. Just curiosity. What could it mean, right? We want clarity, just so you can see the pattern. You ready? Okay, here we go. So what are the 5 roles? So role 1, the responsible one. This is the person who handles it. She gets the call from the hospital. She makes the appointments. She knows the medications. She drives to the assisted living facility every Sunday. She is the one the doctors call back. She is the one with the spreadsheet. She is the one who, when something goes wrong, picks up that phone. The responsible one usually became the responsible one a long time ago. Often as a child, she was either the eldest, or she was the most capable, or she was the one who watched the chaos and decided someone had to bring order. And as a child, she got rewarded for being competent. As an adult, the family relies on that competence whether she wants it or not. The responsible one feels 2 things at once: pride that she can handle it, and exhaustion that she has to. She tells herself she's fine. She tells everyone that she has it under control. And then she goes home and cries in the car. And if you're listening to this podcast, there is a very good chance you are the responsible one. Role 2, the disappearing sibling. So this is the brother or sister who is just not around. They live far away. They are busy. They have their own life. They love their parents in theory, but in practice, they're absent. They show up for holidays. They call sometimes, but the day-to-day reality of caregiving belongs to someone else. Now, the disappearing sibling is often misunderstood. From the outside, it looks like they don't care. But that is rarely the truth. The truth is that the disappearing is also an adaptation. Often they learned early that someone else was going to handle it. Often they were given fewer responsibilities and grew up assuming that pattern would continue. Sometimes they are deeply uncomfortable with the parent's decline, and disappearing is self-protective mode. Sometimes they have always felt eclipsed by the responsible one, and stepping back is easier than competing. The disappearing sibling is not the enemy. They are playing a role. They are doing what the system trained them to do. Number 3, the critic. Oh, this is the family member who has opinions. Lots and lots of opinions. They have not actually done much of the caregiving, but they have plenty of feedback about how it is being done. The critic shows up to second guess, to complain, to say what should have been done differently, to tell you that you are doing too much or not enough or the wrong thing. The critic is often the most painful family member to deal with because they are not absent. They are present and judging. They are there enough to comment, but not there enough to help. And the responsible one often feels rage at the critic in a way she does not feel at the disappearing sibling, because the disappearing sibling is just gone. But the critic, oh, they're in your face. And what's going on with the critic? Usually the critic is dealing with guilt. They feel bad that they're not doing more. And rather than sit with that guilt, they project it outward. They tell you what is wrong with what you are doing because it's easier than facing what they are not doing. The critic is almost always a sibling who is internally ashamed and externally loud. Role 4, the peacemaker. Oh, the peacemaker. This is the family member who tries to smooth over everything. They don't want anyone to fight. They tell the responsible one to be patient with the disappearing sibling. They tell the critic to be nicer. They tell the parent everything's going to be okay. They keep the temperature of the family low because conflict is unbearable to them. And the peacemaker can be helpful sometimes. They can de escalate, they can hold space. But the peacemaker also gets in the way of real conversations because, look, real conversations require some conflict. Real change requires saying the hard thing. And the peacemaker and her effort to keep everyone calm often blocks that very confrontation the family needs. Role 5, the dependent child. This last one is a little harder, right? The dependent child is the family member, often a sibling, who has stayed in a younger role for a long time. They may have struggled financially, emotionally, or relationally. They may live close to the parents, but they are not the caregiver. They are the cared for. Sometimes the parent is still emotionally taking care of them, sometimes financially. And sometimes the dependent child has been the family identified patient for decades, and the rest of the family has organized around them. When a parent starts to age, the dependent child often does not adjust well. They are not used to being the one who gives. They are the one who's used to being the one who takes. And sometimes they become an active obstacle to the parent's care because they cannot tolerate sharing the parent's resources, attention, or energy with the parent's actual needs. These 5 roles do not show up in every family in the same way, but almost every caregiving family has most of them. And once you can see them, you can stop taking the behavior personally. You can stop trying to change who your sister is, and you can start changing the system instead. And so, which role are you playing? Right? Here's a question I want you to sit with after this episode. Which role have I been playing? And for most of you, the answer will not surprise you. You are probably the dependable one, right? The responsible one. And these episodes are speaking to you. The framework fits. You have been holding together. You know exactly who I'm describing. But I want you also to ask yourself the second question. Which role am I being assigned? Not just by my family of origin, but by my own internal sense of who I have to be. Because sometimes the role we play is not the role the family put us in. Sometimes it is a role we keep choosing because we do not know how to stop. The responsible one often keeps signing up even when nobody is asking her to. The peacemaker keeps soothing things over even when conflict would be useful. The critic keeps criticizing even when she could just help. The roles get internalized. They become identity. And here's the kicker. You can change your role, but only if you can see it. So I want you to take a moment, maybe later today, maybe on a walk, and just ask yourself, what role do I play in my family? When something hard happens, what is my reflex? When my mother or father needs something, what is the first thing I do? When my sibling acts out, what is my pattern? Look, you'll see it. The pattern is usually pretty stable. And then ask the harder question. Is this role still serving me? Is this role still serving my parent? Is there a version of me that would be more useful to this family right now than the one I've been playing for 40 years? Most of you are going to find that some version of your role still fits, but not all of it. You're going to find 1 or 2 pieces of it that you can put down, and that is enough to start. And so what do we do once you can see the roles? Well, first, we stop fighting the people and start changing the system. And how do we change the system? Look, your sister is not going to become a different person because you yelled at her. Your brother's not suddenly going to start calling more because you sent him a guilt laden text, right? They're playing roles, and the only way to change the system is to change your own move, which forces the system to respond and recalibrate, right? Then you identify your own move. If you are the responsible one, your move is usually to take on more. So, to handle it, right? To carry it alone. But what if your next move was not that? What if you said, this is not mine to carry by myself, and let the consequences play out? I know that feels terrifying. But the reality is that's the only way the system shifts. Third, stop expecting role changes you have not asked for, right? If you want your sister to help you, you have to ask her directly for a specific thing with a specific timeline and a specific consequence if she does not do it. Vague hope that she will step up is not a strategy. That's just resentment in slow motion. And four, and this is the hardest one, be willing to disappoint people. The responsible one has built her entire identity around being the one who can be counted on. Stepping out of that role means people will be disappointed in you. Your mother may even be disappointed in you. Your siblings might be disappointed in you. You will feel like you are betraying them. You are not. You are renegotiating a role that was assigned to you a long time ago and that you never agreed to keep playing forever. This is the work. And look, this is not glamorous. It's not fast. It's not a one conversation fix. But it is the only way out of the resentment, the burnout, and the silent fury that so many adult children are carrying right now. The good news is that once you can see the roles, you cannot unsee them. And once you start moving differently inside the system, look, the system starts moving differently around you. Sometimes for the better. I will say sometimes worse before better, but always towards something that has more honesty in it. And honesty is the beginning of every real change. So let me bring it home. Every caregiving family has 5 rules: the responsible one, the disappearing sibling, the critic, the peacemaker, the dependent child. These are not character flaws. Remember, these are system adaptations. Once you can name them, you can stop taking the behavior personally. This role you are playing is probably one you signed up for a long, long time ago. Maybe as a child, maybe under stress, maybe by default. But you know what? You can renegotiate it. The way to change the system is not to change the people. It is to change your own move, to stop doing what the role demands, to force the system to redistribute, recalibrate. You can do this. You just need to see it. And look, now you can. And, you know, if this episode hit you and you're sitting there thinking, okay, I can see the roles now, but how do I actually start changing the system? I have something for you. It's called the Hard Conversation Scripts. It's a free PDF I put together for adult children who know they have to start having different conversations with their family, but don't know how to actually begin. So it has the actual language, word for word, for the conversation with the sister who has been disappearing, for the conversation with the brother who keeps criticizing, for the conversation with your mother about what she actually wants, for the conversation with yourself about what you are no longer willing to carry alone. To get it, comment the word scripts on this episode on Instagram. We will send it to you instantly or grab it directly from the link in the show notes. These scripts will not fix your family overnight, but they will get the right conversation started. And that is how the system starts to shift. So next week, I'm taking on one of the most common phrases I hear in the office, and almost everywhere at this point. My sister's a narcissist. And I'm going to tell you why that diagnosis is almost always wrong, what is actually going on, and why diagnosing your sister with a personality disorder is doing you more harm than good. It's going to ruffle some feathers, and it's going to be one of the most useful conversations we have. Until then, take care of yourself and start watching the rules. Till next time.